What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be previewing round 10. It's Port Adelaide versus Geelong at the Adelaide Oval this Saturday twilight at 3:45 p.m. And tell you what, this is the make or break game. This is the one. This is the one where we sit here and we've got to do the job. We've got to get the win. If there's anything that's going to be done this season in terms of success and exactly what we want for this year and, you know, playing finals and any sort of chance of looking like we're going to do something, this is the game we have to win. You know, we've teetered. We're a very, I don't even know how to put it because it's just, I don't know what we are. And like, it's now gotten to a point where it's round 10. There's things that are building around in terms of, what the finals may look like and how strong clubs have been early on. And I know round 10, 10 years ago would have felt like the midway point of the year, but round 10 now is like a third of what the season is. So this game against the Cats is one that's going to be testing. Obviously, we've had make or break games over the last couple of years against them that have proven successful. Last year at the Category, where we won by 5 points in a nail biter after getting a 10-goal head start. The year before, we punished them in one quarter of footy at the Adelaide Oval after coming off a bye, and now we've lost a showdown, which never really ends up being a positive thing because playing after a showdown always seems to be the downfall of both clubs. Basically, winning after a showdown is very, very unlikely, going by previous history. So to come up against the Geelong outfit who lost a close one to the Giants, and they've been the big match football club. Geelong, they've been the ones that have won in the points where they've needed to, and we sit here now and they don't feel like a 5-4 side. The Cats, they feel like they're stronger than what they are on the ladder, and they've got a very strong unit in their midfield, and they can be exposed very well through there. But Holmes, Atkins has been phenomenal. Bailey Smith is their number one possession getter. He's in and out. They're by far their star, and they've got Brian Myers up forward. They've got the ability to have good ball users around the ground. Cam Guthrie. They've also got Jeremy Cameron down there. Patrick Dangerfield's a big game player. They have a great cohort of players that have managed to win them big games. And whilst they didn't win on the weekend, they've beaten the likes of the Pies. They've beaten the Hawks in close games. I bet the Crows in the away game. They played at the Adelaide Oval for gather round. So it's a lot of big time things for the Cats, and they'll get Lawson Humphreys back this week. There's a chance they might get Jack Henry back this week as well. That strengthens them. Tom Stewart potentially too, and countless amounts of players that they have there that just they can flow in and really be quite strong. So to say the least, I'm a little bit on edge about this one. I'm a little bit more confident about this than I was the showdown, though. I feel like we've played better than what we look. I think last week was a real the DNA of Port Adelaide. Many entries inside 50, giving yourself plenty of opportunities, just didn't take some of them, and that's fair enough. It happens in games, and that's how you lost. If you isolate the showdown last week, it's just unfortunate of how you lose. So now coming into this week, it's a bit of the same. I think we can get top heavy in the midfield. We can be quite dominant. I like the change of Miles Bergman going there. It gives us a bigger body, especially against the Cats, who are bigger bodies. They're quite tall around the ground, and they have Blitzarves in there. They have De Koning down back. They have big game players and big tall players that really take on the game. So if we can mix in our own, then I think it's well documented that they can match it, I think, effectively. And I think with our additions this week, we'll have Rioli come back in, I hope. That's an interesting one in itself. If Rioli comes back in, I think selection becomes quite interesting now, because Rioli coming back into the side really helps our forward line. I think he obviously makes our side a 1 to 2 goal better side already, and that if he plays last week, that's probably the difference in the game. So comes in this week, he's going to be very emotional. Obviously, Sir Doug Nicholls around, which is going to be fantastic, and I'll get to that in a second. But you know, Rioli comes back in. I think Boak will be part of the selection as well. I think he was fantastic. And how's that? He plays his one and only Magpies game ever and gets 36 touches. It's just, I know there was comments about how he pissed the ball away and it was 32% the disposal efficiency. But when an in and around midfielder and you're actually getting the footy, having that much of the footy, I think you can be excused for just enjoying a day. Playing in a showdown. Should have been in the last one at night, but regardless, I think with the showdown being the way it was, Boak and Rioli are great additions. I don't see Jed McEntee getting his Guernsey presented this week. I think he's going to be dropped. Christian Moraes might be out as well, I think, or maybe the sub this week again. And as we heard today, Kane Farrell has been injured for the next 4 to 6 weeks, so he'll miss a fair bit of time with his knee, which is just a big loss. That's a driving factor inside our defensive half. We lose Houston, who was a ball magnet and a ball getter, and he was very damaging on his ball usage coming out of the defensive 50. Kane Farrell's a penetrating kick. He knew how to utilise the footy and really get it deep inside 50, and it was obviously a goal option outside 50 as well if it occurred. But now you sit here and you don't have that option. And who comes in? Well, it's Rory Atkins probably. I don't think we'll drop Ollie Lord at all. I think he deserves an opportunity. Him and DeConing will be a good matchup, I think. We've obviously got to match up really well with their forwards, with Shannon Neal and Jeremy Cameron, Patrick Dangerfield. So I think that the test is there. The matchups will be quite interesting throughout. So selection's pretty important for Port Adelaide this week to get it right. And you can only select the best that's available, and Rioli and Boak come back in. Atkins looked pretty good in the SANFL again, and there's an opportunity. So, yeah, there's a lot to pan out, I think, with this game, and it's got so much more riding on it, and we just got to win. That's the most important thing here. So, obviously, it's Sir Doug Nicholls round this week. It's pretty important in itself. The next couple of weeks, we play Geelong and Fremantle, and they are massive opportunities for us to win games, and we need to win these games to have a foot in the door for finals this year. Winning these two going into the bye is very, very crucial, especially with our draw coming up afterwards as well, which is, it's not fun looking at the draw, and when you're in a 4 and 5 position, it does get quite dangerous. So, must-win game for the next two. So, Doug Nicholls round is obviously very important. Gavin Wanganeen has designed the Guernsey for this year, and it looks fantastic. Obviously, the Milky Way, and there's so much representation with within the Indigenous community, and how important it is to Port Adelaide, and how amazing their programs are as well. So this will be taken very seriously. It's unfortunate that I won't be there on Saturday with my own footy to play, but I think having such an important round, a Guernsey that's well represented, and we have a great representation within the playing group already. I think it's very important for us to take that message forward, and especially with everything that's happened over the last few weeks and continuously will happen because people don't learn. I think this is a big game, and this is one where I'm glad we're wearing a Guernsey, glad we're going to be showing some fight, and hopefully a good crowd on Saturday. Should be good weather. And one that we need to win. A must-win game for Port. There you have it, Port fans. This is my preview for round 10. It's obviously a very important one for many reasons. And, I think the most important thing about this game will be the efficiency inside 50. I think we'll get plenty of the ball. Hopefully we can be able to nullify Geelong and really take advantage of our inside 50s, especially like last year, especially in that first game against them at the Cattery. So a very important game, one that I'm looking forward to. Please leave a comment below your thoughts and predictions for this week. I'm tipping us by 7 points in a close one. I have to. Do I have any confidence? I have a little bit of confidence, especially after last week. So it is Port Adelaide, but it is Yartapuulti as well, with the name change for the next couple of weeks. So please be respectful, please be mindful, and please support the boys as we can get this one and get the next one as well. And hopefully going into the bye, we're positive in our outlook for the rest of the year. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. My name's Anthony, and as always, count the pair.